If you're looking for professional day trading education and high level trade analysis on day section, you have come to the right place. My name is Pat Mitchell. I've been a professional day trader for the past 11 years, and I'm here to bring you exactly that professional day trading education, all here for free on YouTube and on X. And tonight, we're going to be going over a few trades that I took here this morning, and I'm going to get into a discussion about discipline and strategy and why that'll prevail 100% of the time if you do it. So let's rock and roll. Hope you all had a wonderful day. Give me 2 seconds just to fire up these charts and let's do this, folks. Okay, let's rock and roll. Like I said, I hope you guys all did well today and had a good day. And we're going to go into this. Oh, I got to fix this chair, scoot in a bit. And now let's discuss the morning action. So, what we were looking for here, if you are just joining us and this is the first time joining us, you're going to see a bunch of blue levels up on these charts. And these blue levels are struck 30 minutes at a minimum prior to the market open. So, nothing comes out after the fact. There's no trades that we just take on a whim. Everything is plotted and planned beforehand. And these levels not only are just technical levels, support and resistance levels, but also I develop trade plans surrounding them. Now, you're not going to see any levels struck down below here. You will see them up above, but down below here on Qs, you won't see them. Why? Because we are working off of moving averages, the 9 EMA, 5 EMA, and the 20 SMA. And each one of those trades actually triggered. So the very first trade that we took, let me get my fancy drawing tool. Once the market opened, it dipped down, coming down into the 9 EMA. So we executed that trade, looked for a run up. We paid ourselves into that first level of resistance, which is this pre-market range. And that was essentially it. Once it popped through, I said, make sure you pay yourself. Certainly we did. And then we were waiting for the market to reset. Now, this is a really important note that people should really pay attention to. When you're working with tight ranges, okay, and you open up right on top of those levels, generally what's going to happen, it'll fuck around at that level for a while, and then it needs to either break out or break down. And generally speaking, when we already had a day two continuation like that yesterday, right, I talked about that, it's going to want to come down and test a lower support level to prove that it is in fact strong. Okay. Remember this. You have to look at these charts like they're living, breathing animals. It's the same thing as looking both ways before you cross the street. You wouldn't just walk up to a road, any road for that matter, and not look left, look right, and then proceed, right? You look left, you look right, you look left again, and then you cross the street. It's the exact same thing. That's what the market's doing. The market is looking both ways before it crosses a street. And sure enough, it came down into the 20 SMA, tested multiple times. And what's another interesting, a little side note here, do you see how it held the 20 on Qs? It came up and then it fell down real hard and fast. What they're doing is creating liquidity. They're trying to incite panic. Okay. They're trying to get these longs that would have got in here, maybe not necessarily at the 20, because most traders, retail traders, trade setup, bullshit setup, instead of actually trading the true level. So they're working this trade and they get in, they hammer it with confirmation, and it starts to come up. And like most retail traders, they do not pay themselves properly. They're always looking for the big move. Once it starts tumbling hard and fast like this, it sells really hard because you get all these people that went in long here and they fucking panic. And then what does it do? It comes back, tests that 21 more time, and then it remounts and it does it again. And then finally, squeeze takes over once it breaks this level, which it then carries it up. There is for those of you that maybe got lost in what I was just saying, because I just rattled through it really quickly, there's an order of operations that these stocks have to go through in order to move up or move down. And once you understand that order of operations, all of this becomes very fucking easy. And years ago on social media, I'd get chewed and hammered on social media for saying that this is easy. And I'm not saying that the mentality and the psychology and getting over these hurdles is easy. It's once you get over those hurdles and you actually understand what this market does and why it does it. Like there's a lot of people out there that say like there was actually a member, Jake, that was talking to a friend of his that said, you know, what you're doing, Jake, is impossible, right? And a lot of people will say things like it's all random, right? And it's like those people couldn't be more fucking wrong. Every day I prove it. And I've done this for the last 8 years running a service and 11 years trading professionally. There is a movement, natural movement to these stocks. And it's part of my natural movement theory. It's how I read price action. And I can tell you what's going to happen before it happens. And it's not luck. At this point, it can't be luck. When you do something day in and day out, with high odds of like a percentage of it working and doing exactly what I say it's going to do within 6 moves, you know that there's something to that. And it's just understanding, you know, a lot of people will look, and I know that this isn't much of a trade recap, and we'll get into these trades here in a second, but there is a lot of lessons from today. And when you're looking at these charts, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people will look at charts like they're just candlesticks or bars and just a graph, right? Some idiots will call it a map. And that's a shout out to the idiot that called it a map. That guy's a fucking mouth breather. Side note. Anyways, inside joke. These charts, they're not just price points on a computer screen. It's not what it is. This is a direct representation of human emotion that is intertwined with money and a bunch of different things. And once you understand that that all of those things combined make this a living, breathing animal. It's just like you and I. We eat, we have emotion, we're fearful, we get mad, we're happy. All of these different emotions are translated onto the screen just in a different way. But all of this, when you actually understand how these stocks move, it becomes very, very easy. Now, you're not going to be right 100% of the time. And it's not about being right. It's about managing the trade, period. Okay. And we'll go over a trade that I did just simply manage the trade. There's no emotion. And let's get into it. I think was it this one? Yes, it was this one. So next trade to go over. Sorry, on Qs, I locked in $93. So what you're going to have to remember moving forward is on Tuesdays, the P&L is going to be very small. I'm working and doing live trading, and it's not a live trading course or class that is what you would expect. This is going over and looking for very specific trades and taking and executing trades designed to get traders over certain hurdles that they might be having. Okay, so it's a very different live trading course. Okay. So on Tuesdays, I will trade with very small size that would represent the average beginner new trader type of size. And then on Fridays, I do it again, but I trade with much more size. Now, I wouldn't consider it full size. I'm not going to be taking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of contracts, although sometimes I do live trading. But for the most part, I keep it down to a dull roar. So then traders get an idea of how to manage trades with small size. And then when they're ready for it, they can manage trades with much larger size. So this trade here on SPY, and this one was taken at about 20 after 10. So right in here. And what this trade is, and I'm going to move it over a little bit and I'm going to zoom in. One sec. So what we were looking for on Qs is what we wanted, that follow through that we got down to the 20 on Qs. We wanted that on SPY. Now, we didn't get it because I was looking to get a rundown into those moving averages down below. So once it kind of pissed around here this morning, right? And then it broke. Once it breaks through, and I even said we wanted more of a breakthrough, but we didn't get it. So when it popped back up to test, remember it disrespected support. And once support breaks, that previous support now becomes resistance. So I will execute the short and simply risk off of this range. Okay, real tight risk trade. So execute that trade. That's the execution. When it pops through, okay, comes into my risk, I add. And I said you're going to want to add there because it will, if it wants to come up, it's going to pull back one more time, right? And that pullback there, you need to get out. You need to get out of that position, and then you will still lock in a green trade, even though it may want to still come up and basically stop you out. Now, ended up getting a little more follow through on the name, and that's fine. That's good. But all I had was a very small position there. You need to pay yourself when it comes down to test that because it's already proven stronger than expected. See, each one of these charts, they're going to give you a heads up as to what it's going to do. If something is stronger or weaker than expected, than what you actually wanted, right? If it came up and it bumped its head right into that level, it was truly weak, it would take a nosedive almost immediately. But it didn't do that. So when it didn't do that, you have to respect that and you have to listen. Now, sure, granted, it took a little while before it came back up and ultimately came up, but we did not break those lows. So I was right in that assessment. You got to add into that, get out on the retracement, and sure, you can keep on a small portion of that position, right? And then you simply pay yourself as it washes down, and then you got to get the fuck out, and that's it. So locked in $394 on that. Now, there was one more trade here on SPY. One second, I'm just backing out of this. When we got there was an opportunity at pre-market lows. And what I was actually looking for, and I was right, but the timing was off, was I was looking to enter this, okay, enter long. And basically, I wanted it to fail. Now, some of you watching this might be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Well, like I said, I'm working with live trading members and I'm showing them how to enter into a trade or manage a trade that isn't working. And sometimes I'll look for trades that I do not want to work. Now, this one ended up working and it gave me follow through up to the opening price. And then it did do what I said. It freaked out all those longs again, came down, they bought again. They're creating liquidity packages and pools. That's what they're doing. Okay. So that's what a lot of these stocks right now in this market, for those of you that are following me here, they're going to continuously do that. A lot of setups, they're not going to work. This is why it's pure strategy will always prevail. Strategy will always work. Okay. It doesn't mean you're going to be right 100% of the time, but when you're executing strategy opposed to setup in this type of a market is absolutely going to fucking destroy you because they know as a dumb money retail trader, right? Most retail traders are fucking stupid and they're looking for setup. They don't even know what the word strategy means. They think they do, but they don't. So they're executing setup and they know this. The institutions, the smart money knows this. And that's why it's so fucking easy to take from retail traders because they do not trade strategy. So if you trade strategy and you stick to your trade plan through and through, you will always come out ahead. It's impossible to fail. But that's why people will spin around in circles and circles and circles and they'll never get anywhere as a trader, and then they ultimately blow up and give up is because they never had the discipline or basically the balls to do things right. They always wanted to be gamblers. Like there's a guy I've watched for years and I talk about him from time to time. Haven't looked at how he's been doing for a long time, and I actually checked this morning and multiple over the past month or two, there's probably, I don't know, $600,000, $200,000 losses. Like this guy's been doing this shit for as long as I have. And those types of losses as a professional tells you that your risk is so far out of whack. Now, it would be different if his average win, okay, his average win is 300, 400 grand, which it isn't. That's not going to happen. His average win is 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, which is great for an average gain. But when you're losers are that much more than your wins, it's an absolute, like, your risk is skewed. It's whacked, right? Like, that's amateur hour bullshit. But that's how most retail traders trade. Now, normally I wouldn't give a shit if it was just some random ass guy trading by himself, not teaching people how to do this. But when you are teaching people, you have a responsibility and an obligation to teach them correctly and safely how to do this professionally and properly, not be some button clicking, fucking mouth wide open, fucking amateur gambler. That's not what we're doing here. And that sort of shit pisses me off. And I could rant about this for a fucking hour because it gives traders such a horrible rap and a horrible name. That's why most people, when you get asked, what do you do for a living? Or what do you do? No, most people will not say that they are a fucking day trader. Why? Because there is a certain little check mark that people will immediately think when you say that, because you're a gambler, you're just like nothing but losses and just pure stupidity, because it's out there everywhere. And it sucks because it doesn't have to be that way. If more people were just serious about this and took this serious and professionally, it would change the whole dynamic. It would change everything with the way that retail traders are perceived. It's There's so many fucking, like, an institutional trader will look at a retail trader no matter what. It's an immediate judgment, like they're fucking idiots. And I would too, because the majority of retail traders are fucking idiots. They're the absolute lowest of the low, the stupidest of the stupid, right? Like below average IQ, mouth breather bullshit. And it's like you can see it on the charts, but that's what makes it so easy for me and my traders to do this every day, is because we don't trade like retail traders. We know how retail traders act and trade, and we can see those traps that institutions will set up. It's really not that fucking difficult. It's not that hard to do things right, guys. So if you want to come learn how to do this right, come to tricktrades.com. Now, I'm not some fly by night service. I've been doing this for 8 years with a service, and I've been trading professionally for 11. So you will learn from someone that not only has a proven track record, has done this day in and day out for years, but he can actually teach you how to do it. And that's a big bonus, because not every trader can actually know how to teach as well. There's an act to it. And if not, you want to just enjoy the free shit, you'd rather chase your tail the rest of your career, you go right ahead. That's why these free video lessons are here. There's 1,000 of them for you. Fill your boots, man. I'm just telling you, from one man to another, you will chase your tail, because you're going to have to put together the puzzle pieces on your own. The information's great, but one video will have to do with expert level, intermediate, the next one, novice, beginner, and you're going to have to figure out where this information fits. That's the hard part. So that's up to you. And if not, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great evening, folks. Adios.